You're the glitch in the matrix. All right. I was going to say you are and then also your, but then you'll. So I'm seeing as you'll receive a response as you navigate the system, simply because you're anchoring in a totally different level of awareness as you move through this construct. We reach a stage within our healing journey where this level of awareness that we have, which I'm hearing is a light, it's also something that illuminates how to consciously maneuver. I'm seeing like maneuver or navigate these interactions or these encounters, remembering they don't require a reaction from you. They require a very conscious response that you put into the system. And this is understanding that not every interaction you have or every encounter you have is actually your frequency to embody. Oftentimes we're picking up on the frequencies that coexist, or let's say cohabit, within the ecosystem of the earth. And because it's a multidimensional plane, there are many different thought forms, there are many different emotions that live in this realm. I'm hearing also that live inside of our realms, but also live within the realms of those around us. Hold on, it's getting a bit warm. I need to actually turn down the, okay, I need to turn down the heat. There could be something around cooling off. And cold is not this force. It's not an external force. Instead, it's the absence of heat. You understand where there has been this absence of heat, there's been a disconnection from source within those around you, because you've also moved through the system, disconnected from your own internal source, disconnected from this state of awareness. But now that you're able to move through the system, anchoring in this level of awareness, as I was saying, within this multidimensional system, there are many different thought forms, emotional patterns, nervous system reactions that will happen, that will perceive or discern happening within not just this realm as a whole, but then also the realm of those around us. It's essentially being able to recognize what someone else is going through with those energetic boundaries without absorbing the chaos within their own field as your own. And that's what the High Priestess has mastered. So I'm seeing as you have essentially mastered the octave of the High Priestess. When we talk about tarot and these archetypes, they're exoteric, very specific manifestations that represent the frequencies that we can also shift in and out of as multidimensional beings. So when we speak about the High Priestess, you can see her human eyes are closed, but then her eyes of the soul are open. So she's able to discern what's happening within the realm of, other people, and also within her internal realm, where she needs to hold space for herself in a way that she can't expect another human to hold space for her that is not even yet able to hold space for themselves in such a way. And so in my multidimensional deck, she represents the swan. And it's because the swan is a being that's able to move and glide, let's just say, through this matrix with the level of grace, with the level of, poise. And that's because true discernment is not judgment, but instead it's this energetic awareness. Today we're going to be speaking all about discernment, the lens of discernment while navigating this matrix, what that looks like embodied as this octave of the High Priestess, because essentially discernment acts as an energetic barrier that becomes your level of protection. That protection is a level of awareness that you have. Awareness that you have not just when it comes to your internal landscape, but what's happening in the landscape of the emotional atmosphere or realms that a being's occupying. Now, when I speak about that, it's being able to look at someone and understand the internal wars that's happening within themselves. Also, the patterns that the soul may be experiencing at that stage of its evolution. That's always in benefit for its journey and the lessons that are unfolding, and allowing it to reveal itself through their behaviors, perhaps even through their contradictions and their reactions within these energetic exchanges, right? I'm hearing tell a lot by the way someone sees the world. You understand how they see themselves. You don't see the world as it is, you see it as you are. And discernment is our ability to begin to become aware of that. And from that awareness, you can consciously choose what you allow yourself to resonate with. So these are energetic barriers that are necessary when moving through this construct. And again, it's not applying judgment, it's just applying discernment in discerning these exchanges, which ones are conducive for you, and being able to also identify when a being is becoming parasitic to themselves, and if that's an encounter that you want to engage with, right? How conducive that will be for your life's journey. So it's a topic of discussion that is extremely important. It's a topic of discussion that the High Priestess has mastered very, very well. And so she represents seeing life through the lens of the evolved self. She has a level of maturity in how she moves through the system because she's anchoring in high levels of awareness within these interactions. She sees it through the realm of an energy exchange and understands deeply which energy she's exchanging her life force with or entangling her life force with. The most important thing to understand about the third dimension in which we're residing in is that a multi-dimensional world means that there are multiple dimensions, multiple frequencies that exist within the same field of reality that are able to interact, engage, exchange with each other. It's not these separate worlds. Okay, dimensions, the brain is formatted to believe that it's spatial concepts, but instead it's literally one field of reality where many frequencies coexist. I want you to think about it like this, all right? So the 0-point awareness that the High Priestess has is the ability to remain coherent. She's able to remain grounded and neutral as she navigates this one reality where there are many different frequencies occupying this one world. That's what the third dimension is. That's what life on Earth is. That's also what the Matrix is. And so while she's in the presence of many frequencies, she's not unconsciously identifying with them. And she's not allowing these different frequencies to essentially pull her out of harmonic order. She's able to be super connected with herself. She understands that not every emotion that is living within these different beings or every projection or fear is an encounter that is hers to embody. She has very pure energetic hygiene when it comes to, okay, this belongs to me, this does not belong to me. I can see when someone is going through an internal war within themselves, and so that cruelty that they're trying to project upon me actually stems from this weak connection that they have to their own power. She understands that as she's moving through the matrix, there are certain frequencies that will compete for her attention or attempt to draw her into a lower state of perception. And that could be through emotional entanglement within these exchanges that essentially lead to a certain emotional reaction that leads to her becoming entangled instead of just neutrally observing it and neutralizing her connection to the matrix and also these other beings that occupy this realm. And so she's able to neutrally observe this through that state of remembrance without absorbing that. She can witness what's happening within the inner world and the world around her without being consumed by it, right? So if someone else is going through an internal war and they're projecting some kind of insecurity onto her, she says, I'm secure within myself. That insecurity is actually not mine. It doesn't belong to me. Although I'm picking it up from the field, I also have strong energetic hygienes, understanding what is mine to carry and also what is not mine to carry. So this is just energetic hygiene as a whole. That's something that she's able to do because from that point of stillness within herself, she can consciously choose which reality she allows herself to resonate to and also how she responds to the world around her. So that's something that's really important because, again, there's this level of suave, there's this level of, flowing, there's a level of grace, there's a level of, we spoke about etiquette previously in another reading. That was like a key word that kept coming through, where there's a level of, discipline as well as training and mastery of the multidimensional body so that you understand when you're also being drawn into lower octave expressions of yourself and how to feel the full range of human emotion, but also bring yourself back into that place of neutrality where you're experiencing all of it while simultaneously dwelling within the void. It's something that requires training. It requires mastery to allow this level of lucidity to be an ongoing state of awareness while navigating this third dimensional dream, which is one that's very easy to fall asleep in. Okay, discernment is not judgment. Instead, it's the ability to recognize coherence. Let's speak about coherence and decoherence real quick. So one, a cell loses electrical communication with its source, it falls into decoherence, and this essentially leads to self-destruction within the individual. It can create these self-created cycles of suffering. But the beautiful thing is that everything that falls into decoherence can restore electrical communication with its source, which helps it come back into its alignment. It helps it come back into harmonic order and also its deeper purpose. And so it has more compassion for itself and also the world around it. However, when a being is in decoherence, we see this incongruency between their actions, their energy, and also their words. That inconsistency, I'm seeing the eruption. It erupts this internal war or conflict within the individual. And so we'll see that saying of, what is that saying? Like, hurt people, right? So we'll see this being begin to project their own insecurity onto others. But the high priestess, being secure in herself, she can recognize that as a frequency that exists within all of us, but it's also not her truth to carry. So she can clearly say, okay, this is not mine, this is yours to carry. Anyway, these internal wars reveal themselves externally, and it can be unconsciously to the one that is creating these projections. And so we don't take them personally. We understand these as just like vibrational frequencies that are erupting within the individual, and we're able to hold space for them as they process this in a way that they may not be able to fully hold space for within themselves just yet, right? So we can unconditionally accept them and how they're operating at this stage of their evolution. Even if the individual speaks about peace, the high priestess is able to locate these inconsistencies that are happening within the individual, just neutrally observe them, and understand that someone can speak about peace while still existing in a state of chaos. They can speak about love while acting from fear. So we can understand those incongruencies that are happening. And so the external world will always end up reflecting our internal state of being. It will reveal itself through our actions, our energy, our words, and when that matches and aligns, and also when there's decoherence and it doesn't match and align. It's something that you can pick up on, right? It may not be what someone says, but the things that they don't say. It may not be what it is that they do, but the things that they don't do. It's more of the subtle, psychological, emotional, energetic, and etheric layers that are happening within somebody's field. And that is a form of telepathy that she's mastered. Telepathy is field reading. We can read what's happening in somebody's field because we have many different thought forms and unresolved things from the past that we can still carry with us in the present moment. And so when somebody acts from a triggered place and they have this very strong, let's just say, exaggeration emotion, then they are not acting their age at that point in their journey. They're acting the age of when the wound was created, and that's just resurfacing in a way that may be unconscious to them. And so field literacy is understanding that, okay, that is not something that I'm going to take personally. This is just something that the individual's undergoing, but I don't need to carry it, right? That is their self-created cycle of suffering, and I'm in their state of coherence. I can see something that they're not yet ready able to address. And so there is this level of responsibility and also compassion that we're able to extend towards that individual because they are not yet ready to extend that compassion towards themselves. They are the one that needs it the most. And the deeper truth is that we can only recognize the shadow aspects within another individual when we first learn to recognize and integrate our own shadow aspects. The high priestess, and the paradox is that she can exist in a higher frequency simply because she has embodied all the levels of consciousness below her. And so we see what's happening internally within another individual because we've also had those internal conflicts and wars within ourselves. And that's why the light work is the shadow work. They are one breath, okay? They are not separate compartmentalized aspects. To understand our own shadows is to hold space for them from the perspective of the light being. And so you can recognize manipulation that someone may be attempting to pull you into, because you understand where you've also manipulated yourself in your own journey. You can also identify, let's say, avoidance within somebody, because you understand where you've also abandoned yourself and your own unmet needs in your life's journey. And of course, you can recognize incoherence in somebody's field because you also became honest of where those internal wars had once existed and lived within you. And this is why healed eyes do not judge, but instead they discern, right? They use this energetic filter that allows them to see very clearly what's happening within the unmet needs of an individual and deeply understand themselves in a way that they are not even able to right now. And so from that awareness, you choose consciously whether you want to exchange or engage with this individual, or the let's just say frequency that may be dwelling from them or within them and projected from them at that stage of their journey. And it's because you've been able to cultivate this peace within yourself. And this is why healed eyes do not judge, but instead they discern. That discernment is just this full recognition of what's happening in another individual, simply because you've been able to recognize those aspects that had been living within you. And I'm seeing dormant aspects that have been awakened unconsciously by the one that's embodying them. Once we become conscious of octave expressions of consciousness that we can also host, consciously or unconsciously, we can begin to guide, and I'm hearing express and redirect that into a higher level of awareness. And that leads to, this peace that you can essentially cultivate within yourself, where, okay, you understand it's not personal. It literally is just the realm of vibration and being able to identify the vibration that somebody's embodying. And that doesn't look like poor energetic hygiene. Instead, discernment is saying, okay, I have the wisdom to understand how close I want to get to this. And also if this is someone or something that I want to exchange my life force with at this stage. And that is a peace that emerges from you, that is a level of awareness that emerges from you, and also a level of responsibility in how you choose to just navigate the system, essentially. And this is how the high priestess sees the world, not through this reaction, not through surface level appearance, but through this stillness that she's been able to cultivate, which allows her to see the realm of energy as it is. She understands that what people suppress eventually speaks through their behavior, their nervous system reactions, their contradictions when it comes to what it is that they say and the things that they do, and also the emotional atmosphere surrounding them, and also the realms in which they dwell in. So she listens to what's unspoken in the individual. She also listens to what's unresolved, and she recognizes when words and embodiment are disconnected. She also doesn't need to attack, expose, or control what it is that she sees. She's not ever trying to change the individual, but instead, that discernment is very quiet. The high priestess understands that awareness itself is enough, and from that awareness, she chooses where her energy flows. And it's because she knows that every exchange either strengthens that inner coherence, or it pulls consciousness back into this conflict. And this is the main thing. She understands that frequency because she's lived it. You can understand the frequency that an individual is embodying at this stage of their journey, right? What it is that is hosting them, let's say that, because it becomes parasitic if it's in the lower ranges and octaves, especially when we're unaware of it. Like when awareness is not in the body, you then just become this vessel that can host these different frequencies to express themselves through you, and you're just unconscious to that. You can understand that because you've also lived in that state of being unaware, of where there's been unresolved conflicts, of where there's still aspects within yourself that you didn't have the ability to fully accept at that stage of your journey. And so we can see that through the unconscious behaviors and reactions and responses from those around us. So naturally, discernment literally just becomes this energetic filter that essentially allows you to recognize the plane of consciousness somebody is operating from. And every frequency carries its own emotional atmosphere, the thought patterns, the survival responses, and the lessons that dwell within those realms. almost like an ecosystem. That's how you can think about it, that exists within the same reality, but every frequency carries its own lessons, its behaviors, and the themes in which an individual will experience as well. So some are operating through conflict, projection, and survival, while others are experiencing this through awareness and coherence, and also this self-responsibility, right? When we begin to take accountability and gently bring awareness to what it is that we're experiencing. Summon allows you to recognize the energetic and emotional atmosphere that an individual's moving through without feeling like you have to fix them or judge them or, try to rescue them from essentially the lessons that the soul has incarnated to experience at that stage of their evolution. And so you begin to see the themes that they're cycling through and what the nervous system is attempting to try to regulate, right? It's how somebody is able to move through this as an infinite fractal of potential, even though that infinite potential may lie dormant within them at that stage of their journey. It's something that they're unlocking and discovering through these internal walls that are essentially revealing themselves at first through this external behavior and maybe the contradictions and reactions and the energetic exchange and the energy of it, right? The signature of it. However, on the other side of that discomfort lies our relief, it lies our freedom and our liberation. And so there is this contraction that happens before the expansion. Have you ever heard the saying of not interrupting somebody from their own, karma or their own lessons? That's what this is. And it reminds me of this card right here, which I'm going to read to you. It's Selective Shield. I'm seeing this be really, really important for you at this stage of your journey to understand the selective shield, which is deciding what you can control what happens inside of your field, and that's all you can control. You can't control how somebody is going to react, how they're going to see you, how they're going to feel about you, or what it is that they may say as well, but you can control what happens within your inner world. You don't have to allow the external world to govern your internal state. Instead, it's your internal state of coherence that discerns the way that you exchange your energy, your life force with the world around you. So, selective shield. Awareness of the energy surrounding us. That's what this is. We distance ourselves from people, we get closer to others, then we look back and we do not really understand who we were and how we are so different now. You're modeling a different example. We distance ourselves for a while, we meet again later, we reconnect with people as if we've known them our entire life, while others that we have always known suddenly feel alien to us. All these sequences are linked to your vibration. You attract what vibrates similarly in the same way to you. If your energy changes, then so does your environment for your own evolution. Do not resist letting go of what you no longer feel part of for the simple fact that you once did. For something new to enter, you must make room by letting go of the old. Resistance only brings conflicting energies. Let yourself be carried away by that total feeling of an absolute, but being where I have to be and with whom I have to be. A selective shield is a force field which surrounds a planetary system to stop the entry of foreign bodies. Do you notice that foreign bodies is foreign energies, right? So it's understanding what is not consistent with you. It's something that naturally you want to eject yourself from an experience or something that you feel rejected by. It's because what it is that you're mirroring is a different example of what it looks like to be so deeply connected to yourself. And so somebody will reject your very energy and they'll react very strongly to that energy because it can be triggering. That's what telepathy does. Telepathy is seeing into somebody's field, including all the aspects of that person they have not yet accepted within themselves. And so that can be intimidating. It can also be very triggering to an individual because essentially you're holding a mirror up and you're saying, no, this is yours. It's not mine to carry. Like something that your unresolved emotions are not going to be my unresolved emotions. So once it has a necessary amount of energy for the evolutionary process, this shield becomes saturated and repels all external penetration. So yeah, you can reject different vibrations. That's what it speaks about. At first, this shield allows the passage of energies whose vibration is in tune with that of the plasma in charge of the system while rejecting different vibrations. So you can choose what penetrates your field essentially. And this is the information that you can gather from the exchanges. It's information sometimes that you're picking up on in someone else's field that, again, is not yours. So don't mistake it. It talks about a poorly made shield, which is, poor energetic hygiene. It allows infiltration, which causes imbalance, right? It's allowing the things that you're picking up on the field and mistaking them as your own or accepting them as your own to lead to an internal imbalance. It also prevents the exit of energies which fulfill their role in the evolutionary cycle of the planetary system. The shield protects us and lets us know that we are looked after and not alone, managing who surrounds us and who leaves us to our greater good and evolution. We have to be conscious of its formation. If there are energy leaks, check what and who is outside or inside our shield and whether or not it's in tune with our inner planet. So again, it's discernment. That's what this is. It's discernment becomes your energetic form of protection, your awareness of not only happening inside of your world, but the awareness of what's happening within the emotional landscapes and the unresolved conflict that's dwelling within the world of those around us becomes your form of protection. That's the only protection that you need within the system. And the thing is, this level of awareness, it bleeds into dream state, that level of free will over our perception, and it ultimately being something that allows this deep sense of unconditional love to emerge from that state of awareness, which is the ability to accept all things as they are and how they're operating, and understand that's still susceptible to change over time. Bleeds into dream state. It bleeds into interdimensional contact. This is why it's really important, I believe, to deeply understand this and embody this as well. Not just to walk this path, and not just to know the path, but to walk this path consciously in how you interact and observe the world around you. Simply because there is different archetypal expressions, different, again, extraterrestrial beings, interdimensional beings that we will engage with, especially as the field begins to become more refined as we ascend into a higher octave as a collective. There will be more contact experiences that we see, that we reunite with, where the humans merge with the stars. And it's really important to be grounded. It's really, really important to be grounded within these exchanges. It's really important to be able to discern what's happening within these exchanges and what's happening within another being, to understand why they exchange with the world around them the way that they do. This is a disclaimer. I would recommend watching the reading around You Don't Know How Powerful You Are. I'll link it down below. It's actually a teaching I did on archetypes and entities. For it's very important to understand when an individual is operating within certain lower dimensional realms of consciousness, there are other parasitic beings that also occupy the realms in which they dwell in. And when awareness is not home within the body and it's elsewhere, of course, the vessel then becomes a container to host other archetypal expressions or parasites that dwell within those realms. And it's because we've become parasitic to ourselves that leads to those unconscious exchanges that we consent to unconsciously. And of course, there's always a benefit for the soul's evolution, but when we talk about archons and these different kind of beings and the entities, it's really important to understand everything operates from fear or love. And it's just a disclaimer message to really understand the realm of energy. So I'm going to actually just close out with the gateway of the galactic light energy and send you on your way. But it's a really important one. Third eye, of course. Third eye, of course it would, right? Third eye is your multi-sensory perception system. It helps you tune into what's happening in dimensions beyond what it is that these eyes can perceive. Understanding what's happening within the realm of another individual, and also the realm within yourself. Your third eye is opening. That's why you've come into alignment with this message, my love. That again, it's you ascending into a higher octave, so naturally you're going to be able to see things that not everyone can see. And it's The 0 point and also discernment is the ability to remain neutral, whether you're in the presence of a lower dimensional being or a higher dimensional being. It's not saying, oh my god, there's an angel, da da da, because that's just more an integrated higher expression of yourself. And then also the demon is just an unintegrated, unmet version of yourself. It's the unmet needs of the individual that are expressing itself and manifesting itself through an archetype. If you're new here, I would definitely recommend to watch the video that I'll link in the description box down below, because I did a whole teaching explaining it, so I'm not going to repeat myself too much. But this is what you need to know when it comes to third eye. The third eye, again, it's something that bleeds into dream state. We're going to see, the thing is, there is a likelihood that you don't remember your dreams when you are blocking yourself off from feeling your own emotions and deriving and extracting the information behind that emotion. These create blocks into being able to become super conducive so that we can actually retrieve and extract the information that happens within these realms. It's about lucid exchanges that happen within the third dimension that also bleed into all other dimensions beyond space-time. So seeing with our inner eye is our divine right, and our soul self has never forgotten how to do it. In fact, we are often using this special talent even when we don't realize it. For example, when we imagine something before it happens. This is a gateway to unlock your psychic abilities and stop questioning your divine ability to see. Know that great potential and healing will be unleashed when this space is activated. If you have an intuition about something, trust what you're seeing. It's a sacred time for your psychic potential that you've had since childhood is awakening from its slumber. You've always been a dreamer, sometimes thinking about how the future will show up or revisiting the past. Now the gifts that have been discouraged in the past are reawakening, and your inner vision is stronger than you imagine. You have an innate ability to see farther than the human eyes can, and you have the ability to identify the energies of what's going on around you with your activated third eye. This gateway is here as confirmation for what you're seeing and experiencing, and knowing that it's in divine alignment, you're being supported by this to develop the source-given gift. The more that you see, the more that there is to see. And it's, again, there is a level of empowerment, there's a level of groundedness. It's trusting the things in which you see, trusting in the things in which you interpret and pick up on. And we can only see clearly what's happening in the field of another person when we understand our own field clearly as well. All right. So, energetic hygiene. This is what it is. You're gonna love and eat right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing, especially if this is the first message that you've come across. It's very important. Again, this is something that has found you for a reason, wherever you are in this journey. It's something that maybe some of you are learning how to cultivate, others of you have already mastered, and this is just going to be, you know, it's just being reinforced during this time to really exercise and continue anchoring this into your daily practice. And yeah, so do consider subscribing if you're not already. We would love to have you around for this journey. It's something that, you know, establishing this network as you guys go on and navigate your day and being able to exercise this is something that, okay, we have the light has gone off. Okay, it's something that helps you see clearly, okay, see the shadows clearly to illuminate and bring awareness as you move through your day. And thank you for the work that you're doing. It's very, it's paramount. It's decisions that you're making, you know, it's embodied choices, embodied actions, responsible exchanges, conscious exchanges that lead us into greater alignment when it comes to these collective timelines as well, and being able to anchor and understand what that looks like. So yeah, navigating and maneuvering your way with this level of grace, this level of poise with this one. Okay, trusting what it is that you see, trusting what it is that you're picking up on. It's an underestimated strength. Remember, discernment is silent. So, anything else? Personal reading details are also down below. I will let you guys know when I open up personal readings again. I think I might close them for a short while because I'm going to be traveling and I'm going to be adjusting to a few time zones. And then I'll probably open them back up. Well, not probably, I will at some point. And yeah, that will be it. Also check out 𝓬𝓪𝓷 if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade gemstones. I'm also seeing obsidian, maybe one that you want to work with. You have 2 discount codes for that in the description box. And one of the proceeds is donated towards Auto Sanctuaries. It's a small family owned business that handcraft these beautiful gemstones. Today I'm wearing rhodonite, carnelian, and also kunzite on as well. But I'm seeing third eye energy you may want to work with. So anything like lapis lazuli, also amethyst, and lepidolite is also coming up right now. And obsidian, being grounded in your vision, right? Being super grounded and anchored. So that'll be it, right? Okay. All you're doing is lifting the human condition and seeing life through the lens of the soul, and understanding that the only realm this is the realm of energy. That's what it's always been. That's what it always will be. And that's what it always was. Source isn't all things. It's one single emanation, difference in only seeming. Not everything has to look like light for it to be light. So it's a multi-dimensional system that we've designed to play in. And there are physical laws to every dimension. There are also universal laws in which we're all abiding by in the system. But it's a realm of exploration. There is so much beauty in the contrast. And the thing is, once we're seated in the 0 point, the more of contrast we observe in the realm around us. And there is so much liberation from that seat of understanding, because it transforms how you understand this experience. There is a cosmos within the chaos and a secret order to what appears to be disorderly. We are all children of light, learning to return to that wisdom once again, to hold space for the internal processes that are happening as many of us in this system come back into our remembering, come back into our awakening. It's not a message that I'm sharing to instill fear in any way. It's quite the opposite. That awareness is liberating in the very system that you've designed to immerse yourself in. There's just a level of lucidity, discipline, training, and mastery in your multidimensionality when navigating a realm where there are multiple dimensions that dwell and overlap and interact with each other and exchange with each other. That's all it is. You already know how to do this. You're just you already know. It's encoded within you. So that's it. Yeah, I'm loving you right there. Until next time, my love. Bye.